guys, what's up? My name is Claire, this is Claire Minded, and today's video we're talking about the Pitta Imbalance symptoms. So in this video, briefly what I'm going to go over, I'll give you a brief reintroduction to the Pitta dosha and what it is and what it means, and then I will give you specific signs and symptoms that you can look for to notice if you have a Pitta imbalance. And then I will give you recommendations on how to pitta-pacify your diet, and then recommendations on how to pitta-pacify your lifestyle. So let's dive into it. Okay, so starting with a brief overview of the Pitta dosha. The Pitta dosha is one of the 3 different body types according to Ayurveda. And the Pitta dosha is made up of fire and water. So the qualities that you get out of those elements are very hot, they're oily, they're sharp, they're flowing, and very light. So those expressions turn into what you see physically, and physically a Pitta person will kind of be more of an athletic, medium-sized person with sharp, angular features on their face. They may have a slight red undertone on their skin. Mentally, a Pitta person is very sharp, they're focused, they're goal-oriented, and kind of known as those natural-born leaders. However, when a Pitta person is out of balance, these are some of the signs and symptoms that you can note to see if you have an imbalance or are dealing with a Pitta imbalance. Pitta people, when you have this imbalance, you'll be very critical. You'll deal with a lot of anger and jealousy and aggression. Physically, you can deal with outbursts of acne or red inflammation. You can deal with burning heartburn, indigestion, acid reflux is a strong Pitta imbalance sign. Anything dealing with the blood or the skin, you'll pop out with some cold sores, or you'll have an inflamed joint or limb. Mentally, again, you can be very irritable. You can be very sharp with people, almost like too aggressive, too pointing the finger almost, if you're dealing with a Pitta dosha imbalance. So some recommendations to pitta-pacify your diet if you're dealing with any of those signs or symptoms I just listed of a Pitta dosha imbalance. You're going to want to focus on the sweet, the bitter, and the astringent tastes. These tastes are very cooling. They are going to cool off the Pitta dosha and bring that imbalance back into balance. Cooling foods and herbs are things like coriander, fennel, coconut, leafy greens that have the bitter taste. These things are going to kind of help bring the Pitta dosha back into balance. So you want to focus on the sweet, the bitter, and the astringent taste. Some legumes, have some beans in your diet. You want to avoid foods that are sour, salty, and pungent. These have too much acidity, too much heat in those tastes that will kind of aggravate the Pitta dosha. So if you're dealing with an imbalance, you really want to counteract those by bringing in those cooling effects. So when eating your food, you really want to sit down in a calm environment. Pitta dosha, when you're imbalanced, you're dealing with a lot of stimulation in the mind. You're very sharp and focused. So you want to calm the body down. And when you're eating, you want to eat in a calm environment. So take that time as a little meditation for yourself. And instead of going out with friends to lunch, you can kind of take that moment and just sit in a calm environment with yourself, meditatively eat your food. I know when in the summer, I love spicy food, but even in the summer, you have to try and maintain that increase of the spicy food. Those curries, those Indian dals that are very spicy, you kind of have to limit those if you're dealing with a Pitta dosha imbalance, or it's Pitta, that summer heat, which is the natural Pitta time of the year. You kind of want to balance that off by decreasing those things that are hot, the things that are spicy and warm, because those are only going to aggravate the Pitta dosha more. And now recommendations to pitta-pacify your lifestyle. Pitta dosha, their natural dharma in this life, overarching goal is just to let go. Pitta doshas need to have so much control. They're very goal-oriented, they're leaders, so they have a plan and they stick to it. So overarching Pitta people, or if you're dealing with a Pitta imbalance, you have to learn to let go. You have to learn to surrender yourself to your natural state and just let go of all these external imbalances that are causing aggravation. Let go and let that peace and that serenity come into you and your body. Another thing that you can do in your lifestyle is just to add simple pranayama breathing exercises that'll help counteract the Pitta imbalances. So the cooling breath is really good for the Pitta dosha. And this is basically when you stick your tongue out, and you can make it into a little taco shape. I can't do the taco, but if you can't do the taco, then you close your teeth and stick your tongue on the roof of your mouth right behind your front teeth, and you inhale through clenched teeth and then exhale through your nose. This is a cooling pranayama breathing exercise, and it's great for the Pitta dosha because it cools the body and the mind down. Another really good pranayama exercise is the lunar exercise. So this is only breathing in and out of your left nostril. It's grounding, it's cooling to the body. There was a moment when I used to live in Thailand and I got super sick. It was during my yoga teacher training back in 2016, and I thought I had dengue fever. It was one of the worst pains and fevers that I've ever experienced, and I sat in the lecture hall basically while everyone was practicing yoga. And my body was so hot, I was heating up, I was sweating, there was some redness, I was inflamed, and I sat there and I laid down and I just did lunar pranayama for hours on end. And while I was doing it, I could feel my body instantly cool off, and the second I stopped doing that, I could feel the heat starting to come in back into my body. So it's not a cure-all, but it really helps those imbalanced symptoms right away. So focus on that lunar pranayama, breathing in and out of the left nostril. That is going to cool the body down. And the next day, after that whole spiel with my inflammation and my thought about dengue fever, between the lunar pranayama and a deep head massage, I was fine within 24 hours. I don't know if it was a miracle cure, but I definitely attest the lunar pranayama to a lot of my aiding in the comfortability throughout the whole process. Eye washing is super important if you're dealing with a pitta imbalance, any signs or those symptoms. So eye washing, eyes are associated with the pitta dosha. So if you are dealing with imbalance, a simple eye washing is awesome. You can get a tiny little eye washing cup, and what you do is you mix about half with purified water and half with rose hydroxyl oil, and it will just purify and cleanse your eyes. You just mix it, it's almost just like a tablespoon in total. You put your eye in it, you tilt it back, and you blink your eye open and shut, and then take it out, switch eyes, toss it. It takes 30 seconds. It's super beneficial, cleansing for the eyes, and awesome as a pitta pacifying recommendation for your lifestyle. If you're dealing with any pitta imbalances, or you just feel like you've been staring at your computer screen for too long, do some eye washing. It'll totally help cleanse your eyes and clear your body. You can also do Ambhyanga, which is a self-oil massage in Ayurveda. And for pitta doshas, or if you're dealing with any pitta imbalance signs or symptoms, you want to focus on using coconut oil, because coconut is so cooling. It is most beneficial for the pitta dosha. And lastly, you want to focus on continuing to exercise the body, but finding non-competitive sports. Because the pitta dosha is so sharp, it's so focused, it's also very competitive and critical and judgmental as well. So if you're dealing with a lot of anger or aggression, you think that you would want to take it out in some competitive sports, but that will actually only increase it more. So I would recommend doing some like swimming, doing some yoga, things that are non-competitive. You want to keep the body active and keep it moving, but you don't want to bring in a lot of aggression of a competitive sport. So just stay with the calming, cooling. Yin yoga is a beautiful practice for the pitta dosha. It's cooling, it calms the mind down, and really grounds you back towards earth. So the pitta dosha, it's fire and water. It's very hot, oily, sharp, very aggressive. And if you're dealing with any imbalance signs or symptoms of heartburn, inflammation, burning indigestion, or just signs of anger, jealousy, and criticism, that are key things to look for if you have an imbalance sign or symptoms. I listed a couple of recommendations to pitta pacify your diet, along with pitta pacifying lifestyle practices. If you want to know anything more about the pitta dosha or any of the Ayurvedic practices, check out some other things that I have coming your way. Subscribe, hit the like button, and let me know what you guys think.